جنيف التابعة لمنظمة اليونيسكو بتقديم عرض عن أوجه التعاون المستقبلي بين المكتب والدول الأعضاء بمكتب التربية العربي لدول الخليج.
Good morning, Your Excellencies, Ministers of Education, representatives of ABEX, Alexo, and all the participants. First of all, I would like to apologize for not speaking in Arabic, which I think would be the appropriate thing, but this is something I cannot do to the level. I would like also to thank the Ministry of Education of Bahrain for this opportunity to bring, to come today representing the UNESCO International Bureau of Education. I would like to tell you a little bit about the work of the International Bureau of Education, the IBE of UNESCO, and the important relationship that we are developing with the Arabic region. The International Bureau of Education has a very long tradition. It was founded in Geneva as a private non-governmental organization to promote comparative education research and international understanding through education in 1925. In 1929, it became the first intergovernmental organization of education. Since the 1930s, the IBE organizes the International Conference of Education, bringing ministers of education of the world. It started in 1952. It became this conference became already a joint conference with UNESCO, but the International Bureau of Education was not part of UNESCO yet. It is in 1969 when the IBE becomes an integral part of UNESCO as an international center of comparative education. This is still a very important element of IBE to bring the comparative sides of educational systems worldwide. In 1999, the IBE was given a more focused mandate to focus on education content and curriculum development. And in 2011, last year, there was the adoption by the General Conference of, for IBE to become a center of excellence in curriculum. So there is a whole movement of internal transformation and in order to become a center of excellence in the area of curriculum, bringing up the comparative sides of educational systems. In this sense, UNESCO, it is UNESCO Institute that specializes in curriculum with a global reach and field-based orientation in three main areas, in terms of capacity development and technical assistance, in terms of knowledge management and production, and in terms of policy dialogue. No? In terms of policy dialogue, as I say, the key feature have been the organization of the International Conference of Education as a forum, policy forum of ministers of education to advance educational agenda worldwide and within different regions. For us, it is extremely important today to develop the relationship South-South and to link together different advances in education from various regions. So in this sense, we are developing as a capacity development that would be more forward-looking and that would be also longer term in terms of capacity to contribute to form capacities in institutions and individuals, as well as to give specific technical assistance to countries. We also have access to curriculum-related resources, knowledge, and information, always bringing the comparative sides. From the organization of the International Conference of Education since the 1930s, we have been gathering information about educational systems, qualitative information about educational systems since the 30s, no? In which there are questions that are given to the countries that are recurrent in time, and questions that are more specific with the theme of the International Conference of Education. So that gives us a whole series of databases that are very important, where we work very closely with the UNESCO Institute of Statistics, with the Global Monitoring Report, to provide profiles by countries in areas of describing specific areas of the educational systems. And finally, the engagement of stakeholders in evidence-based policy dialogue. So in this sense, the objectives are to enhance the capacities of individuals and institutions for the design, management, and implementation of curriculum processes, to support curriculum innovation, reform, and revision initiatives at country levels, to develop a sound knowledge base to inform policy formulation and evidence-based decision-making and practices, and to reinforce networking and partnerships to strengthen international, regional, and sub-regional cooperation. So these are the... I'm going to go a little bit fast because I don't want to make it too long. But the one way in which we are in the last years putting emphasis in terms of development, capacity development of staff from ministers of education in different countries is the diploma on curriculum design and development. We have done this now in the Latin American region and in the African region. And there is interest that we do this in the Arabic region as well. We have in conversations with the UNESCO office in Beirut, also with the UNESCO office in Doha. The importance of this. The importance of this diploma is that it brings a conceptual and methodological training to strengthen capacities for curriculum design, development, management, and evaluation at the different levels of the educational system, but with a special emphasis on the school level. It is targeted to policymakers, curriculum developers, specialists, quality assurance specialists, teacher trainers, head teachers, etc. We do this at a regional level because it's very important to develop capacities in a sustainable way. And by doing this, we do it with a local university, with a university in the region. This is the way in which we're doing it in Latin America and also in Africa. In Latin America, with a university, the Catholic University of Montevideo, in Africa with the Open University of Tanzania. But it's a regional diploma that brings people from ministers of education of the whole region. And what the diploma does is that it brings the comparative side, it brings cases from all parts of the world, so it becomes a very rich environment to analyze issues related to curriculum development in general. So the idea is precisely to bridge gaps in the sense between curriculum policy and implementation, between curriculum approaches and school and classroom practices, between curriculum change in basic and secondary education and teacher education, where we find that there are big gaps. Important to develop capacities in a sustainable way. And by doing this, we do it with a local university, with a university in the region. This is the way in which we're doing capacities in a sustainable way. And by doing this, we do it with a local university, with a university in the region. This is the way in which we're doing it in Latin America and also in Africa. In Latin America, with a university, the Catholic University of Montevideo, in Africa with the Open University of Tanzania. But it's a regional diploma that brings people from ministers of education of the whole region. And what the diploma does is that it brings the comparative side, it brings cases from all parts of the world, so it becomes a very rich environment to analyze issues related to curriculum development in general. So the idea is precisely to bridge gaps in the sense between curriculum policy and implementation, between curriculum approaches and school and classroom practices, between curriculum change in basic and secondary education and teacher education, where we find that there are big gaps. No? In many cases, we see the teachers are not prepared to implement the curriculum that the ministries have developed and are interested in advancing. No? To link also new curriculum and assessment methods, and to link the educational reform with capacity development. In this case, we work closely, as I say, with universities that will be the ones that will accredit the course. That means that people come out with a diploma that is granted by a university in the region. We work closely with the ministries of education because they are the ones who send the participants to the diploma. And also with other international organizations. For instance, in the case of the Latin American region, we have the Inter-American Development Bank that funds some of the scholarships for the participants. There is also an adaptation of what we call the resource park, which is all the learning materials for the diploma, that it's adapted to the needs of the different regions, even though it brings up experience from others. No? For this, we have piloted all the course before we start implementing it in the two regions, in Asia, in Africa, and in Latin America. We have developed this in English and French, and we are going to be translating also to the Arabic, which is very important to have the diplomas in the language of the region. And the process is that there are a face-to-face session of 10 days in which there are the different introduction to the 10 modules. There is, in this face-to-face session, there is teamwork, there are school visits, and individual activities that get presented. And then there is a 30-week part, which is an online. So far, we also are doing a constant evaluation by seeking a questionnaire with the participants, or also by feedback with the teaching staff, and by developing a mentoring system for the diploma. No? And so far, the results are quite positive in terms of this is a bit complicated to do this without a mouse, but the evaluation results are quite high so far. IB also has had some work in the Arab region, which I could, no, sorry, that's, and I'm not going to go into all of it because it will be too long, but we have a project with ABEGS, specifically with GASERC, which is the Education Research Center of Gulf countries on inclusive school project. The idea is to produce school and classroom resources and guides to support the implementation of inclusive education in Gulf states, in this case Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, the different countries of the Gulf, as well as Yemen, to gather and disseminate outstanding practices in inclusive education from different regions, to provide policymakers, school teachers, and other stakeholders in the Gulf with concrete evidence and specific examples. No? There will be also the development of a resource guide on inclusive schools, looking at the environment management and evaluation at the school level, and a resource guide on inclusive teaching and learning processes, planning practices, and evaluation. As I say, this is done with the Gulf Arab States of Educational Research Center. There is also a frame, we have worked in the last years in a framework of curriculum quality with different Gulf countries. This is in contribution with the UNESCO office in Doha and the United Arab Emirates. We are working presently in Bahrain, developing with the Ministry of Education a framework for citizenship and human rights education. And this is a project that will continue in the next years. Here is the partner is the Ministry of Education of the Kingdom of Bahrain. In Iraq, we are working on the development of a curriculum framework with the Ministry of Education of Bandag and the Ministry of Education of Kurdistan, and developing the guidelines for the development of syllabus in mathematics and science. In Sudan also, there have been an initial national conference to develop a proposal to revise the curriculum, for a proposal for a comprehensive curriculum reform in Sudan. With the Lebanon National Center for Curriculum and Educational Research and the UNESCO Beirut office, IB also contributed to textbook analysis in Lebanon from a gender perspective. We have also worked with UNRWA in a framework for curriculum quality with the school system of UNRWA schools. In terms of knowledge management, IB has, as I mentioned, a series of databases that are important for this to bring up international comparison and analysis to specific reform processes. Right now, we're working with UNESCO Institute of Statistics in developing a global survey on instructional time, which had been also a theme that had been worked by IB in the past, no? But in this case, it will be a global survey. IB also publishes, well, sorry. In terms of databases, we have an important database that we call the World Data on Education that brings information and resources on education organized by country, including the official reports and link to curricular resources. No? We have also a curriculum database. We publish Prospects, the comparative, the Journal of Comparative Education, which is it's a UNESCO journal that is being published since the 1970s, and it's published by IB and Springer, in which we translate it to the Arabic and to the Chinese. It's published in English by Springer, and it's only translated to Arabic and Chinese. The Prospects today reaches 6,900 institutions worldwide through 255 academic consortiums, and it has gone through a very deep increase in terms of download subscriptions, which is the way that you measure dissemination these days. We have a very extensive website in which we try to translate to the different languages of UNESCO. And we have discovered in the last months a textbook collection that had been gathered since the 1930s by IBE, and that was, it's a bit embarrassed to say, in boxes since the 1980s. It is probably the richest textbook collection that exists in the world. It has around 18,000 textbooks from primary and secondary education, and they are from most countries in the world. We have around 110 countries. One thing I'm looking for is to try to digitalize this collection so it could have an important use in that sense. We work very closely with parents. We are part of UNESCO. IBE is a Category 1 institute with global reach as IIP and UIL. We work with other institutes, with Category 2 institutes as well, and very closely with some regional UNESCO offices, like the one in Latin America, the one in Beirut, the one in Bangkok as well. We also have, outside of UNESCO, important partnerships with ABEX and GACERC over the years, with other private and private foundations as well. I'm going to stop here. We are in an effort also to bring up strong partnerships in the region, and I thank again the Ministry of Education of Bahrain to give me this opportunity. Thank you so much.
وفي ختام هذه الجلسة الافتتاحية يتفضل كل من معالي الدكتور ماجد بن علي النعيمي وزير